I really tried to like this movie. I mean, I watch a lot of garbage and enjoy it. I love Neil Breen, a director obsessed with green screen and his Shutterstock subscription. Um, are his ideas sometimes incomprehensible? Should he probably say no to some of the, things that he thinks about? Sure, but he is 100% creative in every single one of his films. I really liked Pulley. Go check out my video on that. But TLDR, it looks like it's got the budget of a school play. It's kind of a genre that we don't really explore in Tamil cinema as much anymore. So I think that it's nice that somebody decided to do something about it. But I just don't understand the decisions that had to be made for this movie. Like, the copy of this film that I have had this at the beginning.
May I just say on the 100th year of Indian cinema that when the history of Indian cinema will be written, it'll be before Kochadaiiyan and after Kochadaiiyan.
And that is what I wanted, right? A movie that's 3D animated, that's experimental, and has some of the giants of Tamil cinema. But that is not what we got at all, right? So, what the hell happened? So, for this movie, since the production was such a shit show, I figured that the best way to do this is to create a timeline, to show where every single fuck up happened in this production. Let's start with the year 1989. Raja Chinna Roja is a movie from 1989 which is known for one specific reason. It has live action segments mixed with animated segments. Like Roger Rabbit or Space Jam, this movie also follows this kind of interaction between cartoon characters and real people. It actually came out the year after Roger Rabbit, so it was definitely inspired by that. The animations were also hand drawn by who is considered the father of Indian animation, Ram Mohan, and it was the first film in India to ever do this. So there's a lot of good things to this, but there's one negative. It's pretty much just for one song, and the rest of the movie is live action. So in 2007, Soundarya Rajnikanth wanted to, fix that. She wanted to use her dad as inspiration for a full-fledged 3D animated movie called Sultan the Warrior. What is the plot of this movie? I have no idea. There's this trailer that showed up.
Sultan, be the way of life, the way of living.
And I guess from that trailer, we can say that nothing. But it was apparently supposed to take place during the Chora period, so I guess it's like a sultan fighting against the Choras for something. I'm not really sure what it was. But this movie had like a lot of like great backing. Like it had the Warner Brothers coming in wanting to, actually make this movie happen. But they only gave them like 40 crores. So, for that, let's look at what an animated movie in 2008 would have cost. Alright, probably the most famous one is Ratatouille. Okay, so Adi Purush, a full-length feature film that's not even fully animated, cost 700 crores in 2023, which is about 82 million USD. So let's take another film that came out in 2008, right? Winx Club. I don't remember what this was called, but it was the Winx Club movie. I think I watched this when it came out actually, or like around that time because I watched it on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon or something. And the budget for this movie was about 200 crores, which is a decent budget, you know. As a kid, I loved this movie, but I think obviously as an adult, the show was just one giant plot hole. But for 2008, I'd say the animation is pretty good. It's obviously not Ratatouille, but the characters, the art style, and the backgrounds look fairly similar to their 2D models. Except for maybe Riven. The fuck is that hair? But I think this animation is pretty good for 200 crores. You know, you might say that, oh, though that's not fair. This movie's still a European film, so, you know, they might have more money than we do. But fine, I will accept that, but I will table that and point out some stuff that comes out of the future. So let's move on to 2009. The Avatar movie by James Cameron comes out, and it's a good film. My dad fell asleep in this movie. I don't know how he managed that, but I also watched Way of Water, and I did fall asleep on that one. So maybe it was the same logic. But anyway, this movie was famous for one particular reason, and that was because it was like considered like a technical marvel at the time. It had used motion capture technology, which is essentially when there are real actors on set doing all the like movements, but then cameras are tracking all of their movements, and those movements are used as the springboard for the animation. So it was a super expensive film, but a super technically good movie. And of course, in 2010, we got Indiran, a similar movie that basically has not a similar movie, but it's a movie that's also known for its VFX. And I think that the budget for this movie should reflect, you know, how much they could shell out for this animated movie, and it was 150 crores, the budget. So you see my point. 40 crores for an animated movie is bullshit. They afforded 150 crores for this, so there's no way that they couldn't pay these people some money at least to make this movie. Anyway, so because of all of this garbage, you know, the fact that it was made with next to no money, the trailer looks pretty bad, as you could see. I think that this movie got cancelled, but it was in the back of their mind. It was in the back of Rajnikanth's mind even after Indiran, because Indiran was a huge hit and it was kind of an experimental film, you know, for its time. It was a science fiction fantasy, I guess it's more science fiction movie, but it's still an action film, so I'd say it's semi-experimental, but it was a huge hit. Despite Sun Pictures kind of removing some of the budget from the VFX, it was considered generally a technical marvel, and in terms of story also extremely interesting. So in 2011, Rajnikanth approached K.S. Ravikumar with that same project, or not the same project, but with the idea from 2007 for a, you know, historic fantasy type of thing. Hey, remember that movie my daughter tried to make 3 years ago? No. Well, what if we made it live action but with VFX like Indiran? What the hell movie did your daughter try to make? You got 15 days. I want that script. Dude, how did you manage this? Rajnikanth was so impressed with that, you know, with that project that he decided to make it into a movie. Of course, this film was meant to be live action unlike Sultan, but it still had some inspirations from that. So actually this movie turned out to be pretty good because they carved out about 150 crores for this movie. And yeah, they were like set to film this, super excited, and then this happens. Rajnikanth falls ill. He was on set for like 1 day and then he had to be hospitalized. But, you know, hopefully things will get better soon. So the shoot has now been delayed to the beginning of December. But again, let's hope that this works out fine. So, the new year rolls around and there's next to nothing about Rana. It looks like it's pretty much been shelved. But we got this one morsel of news in 2012. Look at that tweet. I mean, I had to show this to you. It says Tweeple. It says Tweeple. Never in my life have I been so happy for the name X. Anyway, this tweet told us that a new movie was on the horizon and we were gonna get another animated movie in 2014 called Kochadaiiyan. I mean, I know it's an animated film. I know a lot of people don't like this movie because it's animated, but honestly, there's like some positives with animation. They also have like 125 crores this time, so you know, it's a pretty decent budget for an animated movie. I'm sure they'll be fine.
The upcoming Tamil film will be shot in motion capture.
Motion capture. Motion capture.
Motion capture technology. Motion capture technology. You see how much the budget for Avatar was, guys. It was what? 2,000 crores. 2,000 crores. We're trying to recreate a 2,000 crore movie for fucking 125 crores. Just cancel the movie. Just cancel it. It doesn't make any sense. Why don't they just make a regular 3D animation film with like, you know, just cool effects and it would just have the cast like voice acting all of the characters, and I feel like that could have been possible and it would have been doable and it wouldn't have been terrible, but instead they went with motion capture technology. I can't help that. Okay, cut. What is happening? The water has like no waves and the rocks look like they're from a PS1 game. And in all of this horridness hasn't even allowed me to notice the fact that this kid is drowning in the most calm of turbulent water. So those two are the same guy. Anyway, this kid Rana is saved by the murder twins and he becomes a soldier in the country Kalingapuri's army, and he was so good that they decide to make him commander.
ராணாவை தலைமை தளபதியாக்குவதில் எனக்கு பரிபூரண சம்மதம்.
Jesus Christ, is that Jackie Shroff? You can't even recognize him. Anyway, now that Rana is commander, they can show him their underground slave mine. Most of these guys are soldiers that they've gotten from all of their wars. And I think that the kingdom's perfectly happy keeping them as minors, but Rana has a better plan.
அந்த அடிமைகளை எல்லாம் நம் நாட்டு போர்ப்படையில் சேர்த்து விட்டால்
அரசரிடம் நான் அனுமதி வாங்குகிறேன். நீ நினைத்ததை நடத்தி முடி.
I can't look at you. That's too much work. So they free the slaves and make them part of the army. And now we get a war montage.
கோட்டைப்பட்டினத்து மாமன்னன் ரிஷிகோடகனுக்கு வணக்கம். வெகு காலமாக நாங்கள் எதிர்பார்த்திருந்த நன்னாள் விரைவில் வரப்போகிறது. உங்கள் நாட்டின் மீது போர் தொடுத்து வர தயாராக இருக்கிறோம் என்பதை மிக்க பெருமையுடன் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன்.
You guys can't even get water or grass right. What makes you think you can do camera angles? The Great Kalingapuri versus Kochadaiyaan war, and we decide to focus on the chariot wheel. Yep.
இவர்கள் தான் என் மக்கள், கோட்டைப்பட்டினம் தான் என் நாடு. இத்தனை காலம் கலிங்கப்புரையில் அடிமைப்பட்டு கிடந்த கோட்டைப்பட்டினத்தை வீரர்களே, வாருங்கள் இந்த பக்கம்.
Oh, it was all a scam. I guess Rana just pretended to be an orphan to steal all of these soldiers. Wait, they just left? What happened to like the sub-commanders and stuff? What? So yay! Everyone is happy that Ranadhiran is back. Especially, oh my god. Dude, she looks like if you melted a wax sculpture. Like, what? Why does she look like that? You know, one of the things I noticed in the behind the scenes, they say that they have like 35,000 cameras recording all of these actors so they can like notice their facial expressions and regenerate them in animation. So, what is this? Is this how Jackie Shroff shows anger? So yeah, after we get the rival kingdom planning their revenge, we get a comedy scene. This movie has such good structure.
என்னாச்சு மாமா? அழுகை நிறுத்தி எதா இருந்தாலும் உடைச்சு சொல்லுங்க.
Okay, seriously, what is going on in this scene? Like, the music is so loud, and I assume it's not part of the scene because, you know, there's nothing in the background that suggests it's coming from it. So I guess it's supposed to be like background music, but like it's a comedy scene. Why are they playing classical music? What is happening? Oh, do you want to see what passes for romance in this movie? Behold, a scene where Rajnikanth acts like a statue with a tiny ass. And that shit transitions us into the laziest thing they've shown us so far, a music video with dancing statues.
Dude, the deadline for this shot is tonight, but we've barely gotten the outlines done yet. Oh shit. What do we do?
Relax. We'll just do nothing.
What?
I got this. Dear Director Madam, we figured it is in the best artistic interest to make these background dancers statues. It's totally not because we didn't have time to finish. It's because it'll be like a cool effect. We've attached the footage to this email. Seriously, this will kill in the box office.
And sent.
That's awesome. Can we first get a paycheck for doing absolutely nothing? So anyway, the goo person who's supposed to resemble Nazar decides to go for a diving lesson, but his son, who I swear looks like the king from Tenali Raman stretched out, doesn't approve. Oh great, they animated this movie so they didn't have to put the actors in peril, but somehow they managed to show us less of Rajnikanth's strength in this movie than his live action ones. Fuck you. Hey, you broke my spine. I'm sorry. I gotta do some fucking math here.
Disclaimer. The following segment is full of guesstimates and alleged salaries. Budget breakdowns are a well-kept secret and nobody knows exactly how much anyone makes or anything costs because transparency is for losers.
So I got this Ram Charan poster to remind myself when he still made good movies. But now I don't know where to put it. So if anyone has any ideas, let me know. Alright, so this thing apparently took 125 crores to make. So let's start with, breaking down the actor's salary. If you guys like my horrible handwriting, what is wrong with you? But anyway, so the only article I could find about like actors in this movie was Deepika Padukone apparently being paid 30 crores for this film. Okay, so my math skills are not getting the best endorsement today. When I was looking at this, the money was in like millions instead of crores, and I did the math wrong and added an extra zero. Then later I found an article saying that it's just 3 crores. She wasn't given 30 crores. But let's add that money back at the end, and I'm pretty sure that even then, this budget is not gonna work out the way they want it to. I don't know how much anyone else made, but in 2022, Sharat Kumar got paid 4 crores for a film. So if we throw that in an inflation calculator, it becomes 1.5 crores. Yeah, Jackie Shroff got paid 4 crores for Jailer, so let's throw in another, 1.5 crores for that. All right, Nazar. Now, it was super hard to find anything about Nazar, but apparently he got paid 1.5 crores for Bahubali, so I'm gonna pencil in another 1C for that. This whiteboard is meant for like canvases, and I didn't really have anything else to put this on, but this is clearly a bad idea. I'm gonna assume that the labor cost of all the other actors was about 15 crores. There's still some like biggish names in there, plus they had to pay for music, so I'm gonna assume that this seems like a pretty decent budget. Still conservative, but I think it's fine. The cost of the set should be low, but Google says it's like 20 to 30%. So let's put in like 25 crores for that. And the cost of the crew should also be around the same. So I'm gonna put in another 25 crores for that. So I guess that's about like 100 crores. Which leaves us with 25 crores for marketing, animation. Okay, that was really bad. But still, my point still stands. That leaves us with about 25 crores for marketing, animation, and all the VFX stuff. So here, we're gonna add back that missing 30 crores that I, accidentally made up. So just assume I said 55 crores and watch the rest of this segment. Hey Google, how much does it cost to animate a 3-hour motion capture animation movie?
For a small studio, animating a 3-hour motion capture movie could cost anywhere between $5 million to $20 million.
No matter where I look, the answer remains the same. Don't make motion capture animation if you don't have the budget for it. I just don't understand why this movie couldn't have just been animated with the actor's voice acting. Like, genuinely, that could have been way more creative. You could have used the animation space well, and that would have just been amazing, right? Now, I'm gonna do something that I have never done before, and that's praise Illumination. For those of you who don't know, Illumination is the studio that gave us Despicable Me, aka the Minions. Stupid little yellow idiots. But Illumination is good at one thing, and that's keeping their costs low. Sure, they skimp on actual artistic value by reusing assets, but their entire business model is just, hey, it's Scarlett Johansson as a porcupine, money please. And it works. They make money. So why didn't they just do that with this film? I get that nobody's gonna give a newcomer to the industry all this money to make a film. So they did have to pull in some big names, to make up for that. It's unfortunate, but that is how it is. So you, as, a daughter in a family that has been in the movie industry, should know that. And even if you didn't, your dad should know that. So why would you choose a route that requires so much money and so much time and so much effort when you could have gone with an easier route and it would have been way more creative if you did? Even if I accept the barrage of stupid decisions that had to be made to get us here. You know, making this movie animated because Rajnikanth fell sick instead of, I don't know, just waiting to make the movie. I just don't understand why you would choose motion capture animation. It just makes no sense to me.
New technology should be encouraged and welcome.
New technology should be encouraged and welcome.
New technology should be encouraged and welcome.
Somebody ordered a recall.
You know, I miss Food Fight. No, I really do. Sure, that garbage was a sin against humanity, but at least it has the excuse of its footage being stolen. Plus, it was brought to us by the guy who brought us whatever the fuck that was. So what is these guys' excuse? Alright, so we're going to take a little bit of a detour here. This is still part of the budget breakdown, but I just was curious. And look at Counterpunch Studios, which is the studio that actually made the motion capture animation stuff. They seem to be mostly like a video game-esque animation company. In fact, the only article I found out about them, like during the time that Kochadaiiyan was being produced, was about a video game that they did. I haven't played this game, but from the looks of it, it looks like a pretty well-received game. I looked at their Twitter profile and it looks like they've done a lot of like TV shorts and like Barbie stuff mainly. And the animation looks honestly pretty good. So I don't think the animation studio per se was the problem. I'm pretty confident that this number is the reason why this movie looks so bad. Finally, it makes sense. All the actors were drunk during the shoot. So an assassin shows up and we get this movie's approximation of fight sequences. I guess that's another thing we can add to the list of things the animators have never seen in their lives. Yeah, Deepika's face about sums it up. What on earth was that? What a twist! So yeah, here's Rana's anime villain origin story. Rana's dad, Kochadaiiyan, had the best marker print tattoo anyone had ever seen. The king Rishikoden tried to get tattoo artists from all around the world to try to get a tattoo like that, but sadly, he could never find anyone to recreate it. Angered by this, he used to send Kochadaiiyan to do impossible tasks like fight the ancestors of Shark Boy. But sadly, he won those wars. Finally,
இங்க யார் காப்பி போட்டது?
Jackie Srofat.
யாருக்கு?
Your soldiers.
நினைக்கிறேன்.
with no choices left, Kochadaiiyan was forced to leave those soldiers in the hands of their enemies, Kalingapuri. Kochadaiiyan, I'm not mad at you for the soldiers. Oh, great, but this cannot go on any longer. Nobody can have a better tattoo than me. Damn it! I might have modified the details a little bit, but that about sums it up. So yeah, for trying to assassinate the king, Ranadhiran obviously gets the death penalty. But this is the land where they execute people for having tattoos, so they just decide to let Scar's army deal with it, and that goes about as well as you would expect. King Rishikoden decides that selling off his daughter is the only way to have peace with Kalingapuri, but obviously she loves Rana. So obviously now we have King Rishikoden versus Ranadhiran with this random prince that we've seen for like all of 4 scenes in the film in the middle. So they got this mandapam in the middle of the battlefield, probably because they were too lazy to draw anything new for this shit. Blah blah blah, the prince wants Rana so he can have revenge on him. Lol, he got a chariot in without anyone noticing? How? I didn't know robots existed in this universe. To war! I'm sorry, but what on earth is happening with this elephant? The physics in this universe is just like like people are like weightless and this elephant just somehow insta dies. I don't understand anything. Sadly, King Kalingapuri was allergic to ballroom dancing. And now that Rana has the prince in his grasp, he's going to do absolutely nothing. Gotta have something for the sequel. And now, there's only one more enemy for Rana to defeat. Thankfully, he's just wandering aimlessly around the battlefield. Instead of, I don't know, escaping with his daughter in the beginning of this fight. And unfortunately, his crappy walk cycle horses are no match for Rana's gravity-defying spear. Oh, you thought I was kidding about the sequel? No, they really had high hopes for this shit. So yeah, that was Kochadaiiyan, a movie with a decentish plot that I barely noticed because of the piss poor animation. You know, one of the things I hate about Indian cinema is that they no longer do any like practical effects. Everything is just done on a green screen and then they do all the VFX in post. But VFX has come a long way. So, you know, I definitely think that if this movie had come a little bit later, they could have for sure made a better film than they did. But I don't think any of that excuses this movie. Like, one of the other things that really frustrates me about the Indian film industry is that they don't think that like cartoons or animation are for adults. They think they're for babies. So this film, with all of its like scenes and its somewhat mature plot, and I'd argue even some of the like, you know, like war stuff is not for like super babies or children or young people. I'd say it's probably for someone, you know, a little bit older. So I think that this movie could have worked as a good step into that field as well. I think that with this story, what they could have done is they could have made like a nice animated film which was voiced by the actors, and you know, they could have marketed like that, like marketed as like a U/A movie, you know, for both adults and children. And I think that could have worked. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm sure nobody would have watched this movie because they probably wouldn't have changed anyone's minds. But I think that this could have still been like a real film, you know? But instead, we got these uncanny valley, creepy characters on top of like backgrounds that look like they might as well have been drawn in 2D, honestly. I just hope that, you know, we still get like experimental films like this from Rajnikanth. But until then, we can all laugh or cry at Kochadaiiyan.